Hey, we made it. What's happening? It's left past 10,
Hey.
episode 10, right?
We made it.
Yes.
What do you call
Yeah,
that? What do you
episode
call
10
that when
already.
it's
The
it's
deuce?
like in a movie where they say the title of the movie in the dialogue of the movie and you're like, they
Oh,
did
I
the
love when
thing.
that
They did
happens.
the
It's like the title line
thing.
or the titular line, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be something on like
I'm looking
TV
it up.
tropes for that.
I'm going to look it up.
Awesome.
All right, we
In
have a
honor
guest
of this
tonight.
number, I've been playing X Won't Give
Yes,
It to You all day.
Irene Gellar, right? I'm saying that right?
That's me, Irene Gellar. Yes.
Nocommentchick.
Hello.
Links in the description of this video. But Irene, please take a second to introduce yourself.
I am Irene Gellar. I am a streamer both on Twitch and on YouTube, and an occasional video creator. You're right. I'm getting my YouTube chops down as far as increasing my production quality of videos. And I stream about politics. I stream about the nature of the political space that we find ourselves in, and commentary on that, and as well as just like issues like narrative and the responsible use of rhetoric and platforms and things like that. So in other words, I'm a huge nerd. That's
Join
the
the club.
Company.
short way to
Good
say
company.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yes.
Yeah, I like your live streams. Now, you'll live stream like 5, 8 hours. That's a little too much for me all at once, but I find myself going back and like trying to find out where I left off and just letting it play in the background. So, thank you for doing that. Thank you for providing me with something to break the monotony of
Oh,
my day. How do you do that though?
Generally what it is that like I program a show and I envision certain topics being covered. But I'm one of those people that has a sense of time that's very different than the actual flow of time. In other words, I think I can get more done in a shorter time. I think I can cover more topics in a shorter time. So the streams just tend to, go a little extra long. Plus, I like to reward my audience when we hit a sub goal or anything like that with a little extra content that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So, yeah,
That's
sometimes
awesome.
the streams do tend to go kind of long. I mean, it's not entirely uncommon in the Twitch sphere, maybe a little bit more rare in the YouTube sphere. But I mean, if you look at like Hassan or somebody like that, I'm nowhere close to the level of hours that that somebody like that puts in. So
Yeah.
I
That's
like
awesome.
it. I like that style of content. When I come across it, I tend to binge it for a while, usually while playing through a one of the Baldur's Gates. It's a great way to take in content.
that's something I've been told I need to get into. Everybody that I know loves Baldur's Gate and is, wants to see me play it on stream.
The blasphemy is the only one I haven't played is the one everyone likes. So if you do it, I'll get to experience it vicariously. I encourage you to do that as well.
So wait,
More
which is the one that everybody likes? 3?
3,
Or
the
that's the new
triumphant
one?
return. Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is the bear scene, honestly. The infamous bear scene. We watched that.
Don't tell these squares anything more about it. That's
I will
perfect.
say
Okay,
no more.
I'm a
I will not
rectangle.
spoil.
Yeah, I'm a rectangle, but
What's the
I'm a
premise?
square.
Oh my gosh.
What's the general premise?
I think the premise
There's a
is
gate.
that in of Baldur's Gate, it's
the name
kind of
of it.
like Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's basically
yeah.
D&D as a game.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
I got ya.
perfectly put.
Cool. Does everyone have like holiday plans or forced time off? Or are you taking time off? What's going on this weekend? Anything?
I don't know. I thought I would do a Lonely Hearts Christmas show. I really don't want to go anywhere. And my daughter's dad, my ex-husband, he even offered gas money if I come up, but I don't want to. I really don't.
Okay,
So
that's
So
fair.
I'll stay home. That's it. Really, seriously. I'll stay home with my cats clean. I'm becoming one of those. you know.
Do you have a holiday show though?
Like heaven, though.
Yeah, but I might if I do if I do it on Christmas Day, I'll put I'll put a link, and everybody. I've done it before for holidays. They put a link, and
Awesome.
then come on, yeah, like you do a call in, but they can have their awful, horrible cameras and the worst picture on the planet, and still be on the show and be live. So it's
Maybe
fun.
I'll call in. Or do
Okay,
you
well,
have to?
okay then.
Do I fit the criteria? Am I allowed to call in?
What criteria? We have no criteria. Are you being
Okay. I didn't
silly?
know if I had to be a lonely heart.
Oh,
I was gonna
honey,
ask, yeah, what
you don't
constitutes a Lonely
have
Hearts
to be
Club?
alone. That's a
I have a
old
lonely liver.
saying. You have a lonely liver? There is no lonely heart, really. You don't have to anything. It's just an old saying that they used to say, the Lonely Hearts Club. Like, remember the Beatles song?
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. Yeah.
yeah. That's kind of where I was at. So join,
Well,
Matt.
I was
That
I was
does
more
sound
like
lovely.
asking you because I never understood what the Beatles, like what made them the Lonely Hearts Club
Band.
band, like the
Who
Lonely
knows?
Hearts.
Maybe they were addressing people's loneliness at a time. It was back in when did they come up with that? Late 60s, early 70s. I mean, I was a child, so I don't know. I really don't know. So
It's a mystery.
maybe my group knows. Hey, anybody in my chat, if you know what the real significance of Lonely Hearts is, put it in there. Okay.
Tomorrow, Andrea and I are doing a holiday stream at 10 a.m. where we're gonna
Letterhack's
play
getting me back on the air at 10 o'clock. It finally happened.
at regular time. We're playing Doom, but it's Andrea's War on Christmas Doom Wide. It's called Boomer Gamer because I don't do this. I
You're
don't
so
know.
proud
The-
of this name, but it's not, I mean, it's a decent name, but you just every time you say it's called Boomer Gamer, your face lights up. You're like, I can't.
Boomer is
It's
as
great.
Boomer does. And this is the
There
only
you go.
Boomer moment I have. And so this would
Embrace
be
it.
the last time I played a video game was Doom in 93. So like
It's come full circle.
it's gonna be awesome. Well, it's gonna be fun for me. I
I'm
don't know
looking
about
forward to it,
anybody
man.
else. All right, that
I'm
makes
a
two.
fan of people who mod games as well.
Yeah,
I think the best games are ones that have healthy modding communities. I'm talking Mountain Blade. I'm talking basically any Bethesda game. It's fantastic.
I
I
agree.
can't wait to see it.
I'm excited
Irene,
personally. All right, next, go.
did you play? Did you ever play Doom of any sort, Irene?
I've seen it played, and I must have played some version of Doom, but are you aware of what that genre of video games has become classified as? Like the category that Doom and similar games would fit into?
I don't want to
No.
burst Letterhack's bubble here, but
Should
you
we
can
not
feel
say
free
it?
to.
You know what
you
you know where
it's
I'm
already
going,
too
right?
late at this point.
Okay, I hope
They're
this isn't going to
boomer
mess
games?
anything up. It's a boomer shooter. It's how they're called to differentiate them from like a modern FPS like Fortnite or
Yeah.
Apex or anything like that, right? The boomer shooters are like that style of video game, which strangely enough are really popular like among all age groups. There's
Yeah,
some
because
people.
they're
feel it,
actually
though.
good.
They're fun. Yeah, they scratch that very specific itch of what do you call it? Easy to learn, difficult to master. It's just
Exactly.
you can dive right into it. It's fantastic.
I
Well-
find that my aim is
Dive
pretty
right in.
good
Yeah,
Nice.
we'll
so
see
far.
about that.
in my practice. But And
the
I
thing
think
that's got me nervous for you, Matt, is that you're playing a level made by a famous speedrunner. Her idea of what a softball is not going to
Yeah.
be the same.
Well, I try to
Holy
make the
bugs.
Christmas levels to be specifically like easier than average because I know that there's a different demographic. So
All right, fair enough.
the Christmas demographic?
yeah,
Or-
there's a lot of people that will tune in every December and play every Christmas Doom level that wouldn't otherwise do that. It's a demographic.
That's wild.
Oh,
And
I
you're
got
making
all
the
the Doom player demo. I got it on lock. You know, I sold it to advertising agencies. You know,
Yeah.
just kidding, because
Wow.
no one would advertise
Oh.
to freaks like us.
Oh.
I love that you're making the war on Christmas come alive, right? So often it's just an
Absolutely.
abstraction.
I'm bringing it to life. Yeah. I
It-
mean, are we allowed to discuss the story of this? I'm not sure.
The
It's a
War on
little.
Christmas?
Yeah, there's a story
The war
accompanying.
on
Yeah.
Christmas story, yeah.
So this is the
Tell.
second one I released
it.
this year. So there's 2 of them. And the first one, right? So imagine this: you're a Doom guy, right? You're a buffed up Marine guy. You're gonna go kill some fuckers, right? And then you get a fucking someone send you a message on the phone. I don't know if they had phones back then. You know, it is set in the future, but it was designed in the past. I don't know if they thought of cell phones, but you know, so you get like a phone message that says like, "Whoa, some guy dressed as Santa just killed a bunch of kids for no reason. Got to go figure this one out." So in the first game, you figure it out. You find out, wait a second, Santa Claus isn't real. That's right. It's been a fucking centuries long propaganda campaign by the devil themselves, right?
Oh.
And Santa, how do they get to
Big
every
game.
house, right? In one night? It's not possible. There's clones. That's right. There's evil fucking clones of Santa Claus. They go to all the things, they build up that credentials, the credibility, and then boom, one night they just fucking kill all the kids. So you go and figure this out, you destroy the whole operation, and then I made a second one. So you're just doing the same thing.
And I feel so honored to be the guy they're sending to the North Pole to take them all down.
And they only sent one guy, you know, like, so think about that. Think about vote
Jason
of
Bourne
confidence.
over here.
Yeah, you only need one guy.
The North Pole. I want to go to the
Taking
North
on
Pole, but not for the same
millions.
reason.
And well, it'll be pretty habitable very soon. So
Oh, Andrea.
Very
We
habitable.
just did a almost 2-hour show on that. Mm. It's called The
So
Greeting.
Irene. Oh, that sounds interesting. Irene, when you're live streaming, you do something that I'm trying to warm up to. And you cover a lot of other content creators. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you could call it drama. For lack of a better term, how do you describe it? Because I know when you were describing your content, you kind of covered it, but how is it? Drama, infighting? Is it online drama? How do you describe this?
I would say that a lot of times it gets classed as drama, and drama is indeed, also a description of that which engages the algorithm. And just like food, if you have like concentrated sweets with very little nutrition to them, very little vegetables with them, that's not good for you. That's not what and it's never what I want the mainstay of my content to be. However, I feel like in terms of the battle of ideas for digital real estate, um, there is sometimes more at stake than you realize. And I think the sweet spot is when you can find a drama, per se, a conflict between content creators that has like a real issue behind that drama. Like, there's a question of trans rights at the root of this, as happened recently in the debate between Keffels and Karl Marx, I think is his name, was actually a discussion of some kind of trans community issues that were important to unpack and take a look at. So that's like my favorite thing to cover, is when it's the focus on the drama, the attraction to the algorithm fuel actually facilitates a discussion of something that otherwise just might not be a interesting enough issue to warrant any time spent towards it. So yeah, I mean, it's I know exactly what you mean, though, as far as like warming up to it, because like, coming into something like that, one streamer covering another streamer, talking to another streamer, and opining on who is right about what. I mean, that is strange stuff, especially if you're not familiar with the people that are being discussed.
You want to
Yeah, a
hear
lot of
something?
times. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, go ahead, please.
No, you.
You'll have it. You'll have a better one. I promise you.
Well, I was gonna say a lot of times I feel like people are just like doing it for clicks. Here's drama. Check it out. And then other times people take that like Sam Cedar method where he says, when you look up these names, you will see my commentary on their BS.
Dave
And I
Rubin,
think
yeah, exactly.
yeah. And so I really appreciate that. But like a lot of people who just do the news and they aren't legit journalists are just making it more digestible for viewers. And I feel like you make it more digestible. And I feel like better you watch it and comment on it than me watch it and try and figure out what's going on here. You know
That's
what I
what some
mean?
people
Like,
appreciate
yeah.
about my content is it's content that they're maybe not even happy about, like how pervasive and how popular it is, like something that cloaks itself as leftism, but really, if anything, is just a vessel for some of the bad old like anti-SJW mentality to sort of creep back into the left, and people are not happy at how pervasive and how dominant this kind of content can be, where the content is a leftist streamer dunking on marginalized people, right? That this is unfortunately a very popular content, like like a very popular genre, I guess, or a very popular meta for large streamers. And it's I feel like my stream is one place that marginalized groups get a chance to dunk back.
I love
I
it, though.
like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Twitch streamer like drama culture is just because like people feel the need to stream all day, and like it's kind of hard to talk about things that matter, so they just like create arbitrary garbage just to like enjoy their jobs. Because does anyone really enjoy sitting on stream for 13 hours talking about dead kids in Gaza? Nah, no one really
I've
wants to
never
do
done
that.
that.
So they just like fucking they talk about like, oh, did you hear that streamer said this? And then it becomes fun, because the dopamine kicks in, and then it becomes like a giant human centipede ass shit. That's
It's
my
an
commentary.
ecosystem, to
Human
use the
centipede is a
term.
good, yeah.
Yeah, I actually had an uplifting piece of drama that I watched unfold as I was clipping
I'm
and
uplifting
working on
myself right
something.
now.
No, understandable. Do you guys know Demon Mama? Anybody ever?
I'm familiar.
she's- Okay,
Haven't you shown her clips? Have you
I'm
shown
sh-
her
I-
clips?
I would be surprised if she's regardless. She was covering another scandal. I'm sure I have, if Irene hasn't, but people have seen it. She was covering another scandal that Michael Voris from a hate church is in a sex scandal and it got kicked out of his church. But she unironically likes some of the content his hate church puts out. They have a sketch comedy show called Holy Mackerel. And over the course of a very I know it's a good name. And over the course of a very long stream, as she was covering this, she said to her audience, guys, you got to back up. We got to back up Holy Mackerel. There's no way this church is going to survive. By the end of her stream, she had come across a stream that had, or a video that had just come out, which was basically signaling doom for the whole church. And they managed to save all the episodes of Holy Mackerel. My point being, it's incredibly sweet that an famously atheist streamer named Demon Mama is the reason that Holy Mackerel, a sketch comedy show from a far right extremist church, will survive.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I don't
All
think I've ever
teams
seen
up
that
with
one,
a
but there's a lot of content that's produced by sometimes the far right, sometimes just like evangelicals, but that is, in some way, like worthy of worthy of taking a look at. Very entertaining. I always think of like Bible Man. Has
Yes.
anybody?
old Bible Man I liked more, but yes, I'm
There was a
familiar.
second generation of Bible Man.
There's
that
I
a
don't know which one
cartoon
I
now,
saw.
Cameron?
and they're more hateful, unfortunately.
Oh,
They're
God, of
very
course.
hateful. Like Greg
But
Locke and the other one, what is that small church? I swear they must be
How
in a
is it?
storefront
How is it about the
some is
Bible
worth
if
preserve.
it's
Yes.
it's
about hate.
hateful?
It's not about the Bible. It's about
Oh,
the
just
lying and the controlling.
it's just the cartoon version of Bible Man. But yes,
Oh.
there is now a cartoon of Bible Man.
Jeez.
I
So
brought
weird.
it down.
Well,
I'm sorry. The overall
This
point
is-
that you were making, that there is some stuff that's not terrible, and it's
But
good
look-
to take in. Yes.
the internet
Okay.
is so weird. And
I
like the
know.
more
It is.
people stream, the weirder it gets. And like I think it's cool to hold each other accountable and challenge different takes, right? And
yeah.
and hopefully like everyone's learning from that, right? And we can see who doesn't learn from that. And it's like, all right, well, good luck out there. But then, you know, and this is what I mean by warming up to it. Like at first, and a lot of it, I was like, all right, TMZ, I guess, or just you're just telling me what happened on Twitter today. Guess what? I'm on Twitter. I saw what happened. I don't need it reiterated. But then there's a lot of times where people are breaking it down. And this is what Irene does. And this is why I specifically like, I don't watch this anywhere else. I'll just say it. But like, I like how you're like asking the chat what they think and getting input from the community. And it's not just you up there on a video, it's live, it's several hours, and you're really making it more digestible and truly dissecting it in a way that maybe by the end, I personally am like, I don't give a shit. But the experience is more entertaining than a lot of what you're covering. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean entertaining for entertainment's sake, but like worth broadcasting. Do you know what I mean? There's like a production value, if that makes sense. Anyway, I think you do it better than anybody else.
Well, thank you so much. No, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, one other thing about like bigger streamers is that they can't really do interactivity, or if they do, they're just like baiting their audience, like give me money and then I'll talk to you, and then that's just going to be a certain demographic of people, like only the fanboys are going to send in the money, so it becomes like an echo chamber. And that's one great thing I like about like smaller streams, you know, like people that don't get thousands and thousands of viewers, because like really, what do you, I just don't understand, like maybe it's a hot take, I just don't get watching like someone who has thousands and thousands of viewers like on a live stream. Like if it's a show or something, that makes sense. But like, I don't know. To me, a live stream is about like interacting with someone, I guess, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
I like that smaller, comfy vibe.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
Look at
It's like
I mean,
being in the
look at
audience.
I know
somebody.
everybody in
at
my
Leno.
chat.
Look at David Feldman. He's getting like 40,000 views per video.
Well, I think this
But
is all
he's in
by
the comments.
accident.
But he
Yeah.
is
It's
down in.
great
Oh, I'd like to hear what you mean by that. But he is like replying to people in the comments. But what do you mean by accident?
A great accident. I don't think he meant out that he was going to do live streams, and last night 2.3 thousand people were watching. I don't think that he anticipated this, because I look at his old stuff and I look at what he's doing now, and it's significantly much broader audience because of the way he breaks everything down, and he teaches you, and he's a historian. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that he just owned being whenever the F he wants. That's cool to me.
Liberatory.
Well,
Yeah.
Do you want?
But he was back on, yeah. that time.
Do you want me to ask him if he intended for this or not?
Yeah.
I'm talking to him Wednesday.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
I think it's
God, if I
exciting.
knew. That's amazing.
That's
That's
a really
amazing,
interesting
man.
question that you bring up as far as like being in a small audience of a small stream versus a large one, and how much interactivity can you actually do at a certain size, and what is the point of that interactivity too? Because like right there, you can interact in a way that you sort of cover up for your accountability, where you cherry pick chatters who you can dunk on and make fools of, and there's a different kind where you actually do hold yourself accountable to and answer in good faith, an exception that somebody might have taken to what you're saying, right? Because especially if you're somebody like me who's sometimes finding herself in the position of holding people accountable, I want to be accountable to my audience. I'd be a pretty big hypocrite if I tried to close off that sort of accountability.
Oh, absolutely, man. I don't know. I have a tiny audience by comparison to the sort of folks we're talking about, but I'm already at a point where there are things I have meant to respond to for over a month and racked with guilt over not having gotten to yet.
Well, once
I
you
don't know
get
how they do
over
it.
the guilt, then you will enlighten yourself and say, why bother responding to anybody? Why bother even doing a YouTube show?
Let's just
You
go in
should
the
just
hills, hide.
just reply to emails. Unsubscribe, please.
Oh,
I really can't keep up with answering your questions. Please go ask someone else some questions, for Christ's sake.
I have a question
That's
about
it.
online media for you guys.
I have an
me.
answer.
You ready? So I'm going to
No.
start bringing this up in interviews. I have twice. One was pre-recorded and won't air for a week or so. But I asked Francesca last night, and it's like one of these random casual questions that leads to a bigger conversation. And it's, if Trump is reelected, I'll fill in the blank, right? And so what I'm getting at is, I think, and tell me what you think, I think the quote unquote online left, progressive online media, all these shows who plan on using Trump's gaffes and whatever as ammunition for jokes and humor and funny takes and all that.
Not funny.
I think there needs to be, and granted, there will be a lot of this leading up to the election to try and make it so there's awareness and he doesn't get reelected. But if he does, there needs to be a strategy and a game plan. And everyone needs to hit the ground running, because the day after he's elected,
Oh, I'll
think
hit
about
the ground running, right?
all these streamers have built up audiences from when he was elected to now, right? Now they've got the tens of thousands or millions of viewers, right? When day after he's elected, if he is, they're all going to turn on these shows looking for direction, strategy. What do we do? There was a flurry of activity. There were trial and error periods right after the first time. We've seen all his game book, his playbook. Now there's Project 25. There need to be, in my mind,
good point.
prepared videos and live streams for the
I
day
agree.
after and then the weeks following.
I agree.
Do you what and like, but what does that look like? I'm just the idea guy.
It's a
What do
damn
you
good
think?
idea.
For
a real good
me,
point.
it will look like examining all of the policies that they plan to strip away as they strip away the EPA and the, FERC, the energy FERC, the Federal
But you're going to
Energy
start
Regulation.
You're going to start now. You're going to start recording these videos now. You're going to have these scripted live streams locked and loaded. That's what I mean.
And
I
I'd
might
encourage
Because
you.
there's not
I
going to be
start
any
doing that.
there's not going to be any breathing or time to
I'm
take a
doing it
breath
now.
or take a beat. Yeah, but like, it needs to be in terms of, okay, he was reelected. Everyone's panicking. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's saying, I'm going to leave the country. And then the next day you go on air and they're like, hold on, this person's got their shit together.
Right.
Listen,
This is
this
what
is
we're going to do.
because
Yeah.
remember, everyone was like, hey, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't burn out. Calm down. Take a beat. We're not taking a beat. We already know what to do. I'm saying in terms of just like
Right.
being prepared, like having that shit ready to go. Do you think people will do that? I mean, should I send out a memo to the online left? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's a very
Why
good
not?
idea. It's also
Mobilize.
worth, yeah,
I have
and
their
it's worth
emails.
putting in their heads the idea that you should have a plan, not just you should have videos ready, but the even more basic idea of you should have a plan. It's not a joke. We need to prepare for the worst. Hopefully, those videos are useless, and then you can play them later as a this would have been bad and this would have been the planned thing. but they should be ready regardless, because you're right. He's going to come for democracy. We have to, there's a chance that we can save it, and we should be prepared to.
Well,
I'm going to get on it. I don't have a good answer for you. Irene, what do you think? Do you have anything come to mind to what we should rush?
I mean, it's such a difficult thing because the democracy that we do have is so it almost feels localized, at least in the public perception, to the 4-year exercise of voting for president, right? There obviously is a lot more that you could do as far as electoral politics, even than than the presidential contest, right? Or involving yourself in that. But that is what most Americans regard as being democracy. And if that's taken away, right, that is that is like a black pill on top of a lot of black pills that have already had to be swallowed, as far as the gap between the ideals of the country, the concept of enfranchising the people into a democratic republic, and the reality of how corrupt that republic actually is, how much money and influence actually override any sense of civic responsibility, or let alone like community responsibility. And I think, as has been said before, it's that's something that has to take a even more urgent place in any kind of content that we do, inspiring people to help each other out, because in that situation, for a lot of us, that's all we have. And
and
go ahead.
Well, what if, let's say, maybe there's a different nominee? I don't know. Anything could happen.
DeSantis, yeah, there's a lot of them that are really bad. So
yeah, or I mean, Project 25 doesn't rely on Trump; it relies on the Republicans, right, and conservatives, and so it's almost like the game. Oh, change my mind here. Maybe the game plan isn't Trump. Maybe the game. I mean, I think that's where people really panic. I think they should be legit concerned and already working toward. And I see a lot in the chat. People are like, "We can't let this happen." Agreed. I also think we can agree that everyone here tonight is of the same mind, and we're just being the vocal minority here and now. I think that a lot of Americans are like, "When's the election? I'm not worried about that yet. I'll do it on the day of."
Or
Yikes. So
young people saying, "Oh, he's not bought."
And so increasing awareness to win those guys over, that'd be great. But there's always that day after where everyone's like, we should have been paying attention. We dropped the ball. And it's like, don't drop the ball, or be prepared for people to drop. I'm just saying be pragmatic, I guess. But
to Irene's
make
point,
one damn video.
There is something to be said for instructing people to go out and get a sense of their network, because we're going to know broadly what's coming, but we won't know what's going to be coming first. And if they, for example, force through a nationwide abortion ban, you should have a sense of who in your community is going to be able to get you a pill you desperately need, or would be willing to share if they have saved up, yada yada. It's dark times, but first impressions, Irene, you might have touched on something with building networks.
Well, I mean, essentially, this is work that we should be doing regardless. But it's all the more important in a situation where you've got a government that's got crosshairs on the most vulnerable people out there, and has plans, actionable plans to circumvent. So what they're really talking about with Project 2025, the bulk of that plan is a plan to get around the civil servants that make up the majority of the effective mechanism of government, not where the decisions are made as much as where the policy is carried out. And these people have acted as somewhat of a handbrake on some of Trump's plans in the past, right? This is who they regard as the deep state, right? We could talk about the actual deep state versus the deep state according to Trump, but he's really, and Project 2025, even like you said, if Trump isn't elected, you still got, what is it, like 4 out of 7 candidates that have agreed to go along with the Heritage Foundation's plan.
Yeah. And they all want to
A
be
version
Trump's
of
running
this.
mate. And yeah. I do
A
think
version of
that
this for the state you're in as well.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like there's a whole lot of people who don't think it'll happen, and there's a whole lot, and you always get
Don't take
like the
anything
jank
for
Uyghurs.
granted.
You get the jank Uyghurs who are like, Trump's gonna win, and then when he does, I told you, and it's like, come on, man, you were just being
Self-fulfilling
devil's
You had
advocate
a
or
50-50
whatever. But
chance.
yeah,
Gives
and
them
I
4
mean,
years of angry content.
well, no president has ever won these wide margins. So like it's a nail biter every time, I feel like. But I don't know. I feel like I'm not formulating it a lot in my mind. I'm just sort of puking out the ideas as they come to me. But last night Francesca said, or Monday, Francesca Fiorentini, she said the same thing. She's like, you gotta get in touch with your community. You gotta have phone trees. If people are going out
do.
protesting, you need to lean on each other. You know what I mean? Everyone needs to network, and you
You
gotta
know who you might need to check in on as well.
who are the people in your neighborhood, right? Fucking Mr.
have-
Rogers had
Yeah.
this shit figured out a long time ago, man. I'm so pissed off. After September 11th, they asked Mr. Rogers to go on air and say something to calm everyone down and bring everyone together. And he said, what? No, they stopped listening to me a long time ago. Isn't that heartbreaking? That guy was a
Goddamn.
Yes.
bomb. You ever watch him in front of Congress going to bat for public broadcasting? Did you ever
Yes.
watch
I have
that?
seen some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, guy,
I have a question.
the man.
Remember
Yeah.
how it felt to mobilize for Bernie in 2015 and
Yes.
16? Well, maybe we don't have to mobilize for a candidate. We mobilize for each other, for an idea, for values, for progressive values. And we
Hell
start
yes.
doing that locally like we did it. I mean, it was electric here. He was electric here, but we had that figurehead, that candidate. Well, maybe we don't need the figurehead so much. Maybe we need the ideals.
I mean, he always
I
said
don't
it's not
know
about him,
how-
it's about us. Yeah.
I don't know
Right,
how
he
you would
said
build
that.
an actual network though. Like it's
Get
very
back
easy
in
to
touch with
say.
all those people.
Is my mic working? Nice.
Yes.
It is.
Oh,
It
okay.
is.
I'm really high right now. I apologize. But like it's pretty easy to say we should build a community, but like how does that actually go? Like what is the
You need
procedure? Like, is there
organization.
is there a 10-point plan we can have? Like, what if you live in like Fucksville where everyone's fucking stupid and like,
I
or
do.
like,
And we did
know?
it.
Well, what did you do?
We got together and had meetings at everybody else's house and had
And what
rallies.
happened?
And well, we thought he did very well for considering I live in red, even worse now. But there are people that do have the passion. I'm not saying that I have answers. I'm just saying it was done. It was
Yeah,
done.
but like it also like, I'm not convinced that rallying around an idea is easier than rallying around a person.
Well,
I
it's
think
not
people
easier.
naturally
What
want to follow the leader,
More honest.
who are we going to rally around?
Exactly. That's the
We
problem.
don't
is
like the
there's
two front
nobody.
running. I mean, it's who wants either one of them?
Yeah, I'm with
Both
Sandy on this
parties are
one.
insane. It's insanity. But
the
then
the
do
answer
we
is
want
not-
any of the third parties either? I
The
mean,
ans- yeah. The answer
it's
is not to
facts.
not rally. So if there is no person to rally around, then it's the ideas. I think that's
Medicare
very
for
well put.
all, the environment. I mean, the climate
Boom.
movement is very active. There's climate defiance. I'm getting emails every day from all of these different
Boom.
climate organizations that have a lot going for them. Hook on to them.
Unions.
This is
Yes.
yeah, okay. That's what I was gonna say. So
Unions.
you
do
can
the
support unions without having to be in one, right? You can stand on a picket line and not be one of the actual workers on strike, you can do that, right? You can hook people up.
Your
You
old
can
pal
support
Jake
online
did, and he
media.
sold some burgers too.
See, and you can support Environmental Coffee House and then learn about all these different things that you could be supporting and getting behind and messaging and
some of
strategies
it.
for messaging. No, I'm
Yes.
saying if
Well, I'm
if
going
you
to do it.
stop, well, like one person stops watching MSNBC and starts tuning into, I don't know, anything, the surfs, whatever it is, right?
Right. I got you.
Doesn't even have to be American as long as they're covering American stuff, right? And you can support these organizations because don't get me going on this again, but or do, I don't know. I feel like I've said it thoroughly enough. What we want, healthcare, paid time off, rights, just pick any right
Housing.
that you think housing. All of this can be gained through labor militancy and labor organizing and striking and unions, and all of that can be gained through that. Otherwise, I think you do need one person, a figurehead, to because when Bernie didn't achieve higher office, the left splintered and weakened
Oh, did they
and went in
splinter?
different. Yeah, and
Mhm. He had a
that's
lot of
not how you do it.
supporters
So
from all over, though. He
I
did.
think that would have happened regardless.
Yeah, they tended to go
yeah,
back
like if he
to.
had won, yeah.
Oh,
So
I don't
that's
know.
why
Do
we
you
should
think,
be
Andrea?
pointing toward. Yeah, is that what you were saying, Andrea? If he had won, they would have splintered.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, I mean, I don't even know if the left splintered versus like all the fucking propaganda queens, like, and all the fucking fake losers and like the fucking Nico House type characters who just like ride bandwagons for money and popularity.
Oh,
Like, they
yeah.
just realized the jig was up, you know? Because, like, it's like the Tulsi Gabbard thing. Like, it's pretty easy to realize, like, oh, you got Bernie and Hillary. Like, only one of these options is going anywhere in the future. It's pretty easy to just ride the money train until the money dries up. So, like, that's a big problem in the left in general, is that there's, I mean, it's bigger in the right, obviously, people in it for the money, but like, it's
Yeah.
hard to disseminate like who's actually involved, who actually gives a shit, and who's here because, like, they want to meet new friends, or who's here because they got nothing else to do, or who's here because they want to like start a YouTube show and gain views. You know what I mean? So it's like we need to like find ways to like be able to disseminate that a lot easier, but also without just like you know, uh,
Yeah.
claiming everyone's in it for this or whatever. Like, there's got to be a fine line, and I think that that's something that the left needs to really work on, is being able to figure out who's actually in it and who's not in it, but is willing to be in it if they were educated, if they were given resources. Like if we had certain, there's a lot of people that are poor or whatever that, like, if they had the resources to like join an organization, or if they they're disabled, for example. So if they had the ability to actually join these things, they would, but they can't. So we need to like figure out how to reach those populations instead of like wasting a lot of time and resources on people that aren't, going to be doing much anyway.
Well, you're talking about labor militancy. I think that if there is any kind of a Republican presidency, and even like it's kind of the norm for the Democrats when they achieve office to attack labor, and considering all the gains that labor has gotten recently, there are bound to be at least the moneyed interests that stand against labor that are going to use whatever presidency comes up as a chance to attack labor and to try to roll back those gains and make sure that they're not something that sticks, and moreover to make sure that they don't catch any momentum. And so it is, I mean, there are figures in labor that are getting more attention now and that are speaking with more of a courageous voice, rather than just feeling like that they're compromised somehow or they're defeated. We are in a moment where there's a little bit of an ascendancy going on in labor, and I think that the first militant action that's going to have to be taken is the defense of those gains.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, for sure. I generally
Civil rights.
am. Yeah, I'm generally of the belief that Matt is as well when it comes to not waiting 4 years to get progress. We should not lose the opportunity. We should understand that we are both shooting our shot and guarding the goalpost every 4 years, really every 2 years. But nonetheless, it took an hour for a ceasefire to be declared in the newest Middle East crisis when oil tankers said they weren't going to go through there anymore. Grabbing these people by the coin purse is the way is a route that we should be going.
Hey, you know what else I
But
was
how do you
thinking
prevent
about?
like scabs? I
Who
think we
cares?
got into this conversation before,
Sorry.
but it's like I feel like there's just always
need to
going to be enough
outnumber them.
people.
If
What do we
more
mean by
and
scab?
more
I guess.
people who cross picket lines and go to work anyway, and
Oh, literal like
we'll do it for less.
strike busting scabs.
Or like people that are like, oh no, we're gonna let the oil tankers go through because I got like 6 people in my family that I have to feed or whatever,
Make our case as best we can to them, but I mean, not worry about what the ranks might look like when they're breaking before they're formed.
I mean, if you're
That
talking
might
about,
be a wrong.
oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you. I was just gonna say that that's
You're
not
the
a great
guest.
response from me. So please
Well,
save
if
me.
we're talking about not just like scabs in the traditional sense of people that are crossing the picket line and breaking solidarity, but also about those that are pouring cold water on any sort of effort to exert collective power on the businesses, the forces, the institutions, the politicians, what have you, that oppress us, then that does put you a little bit on the line in terms of, if your form of fighting back against that is to criticize those creators that have done that. And yes, this is unfortunately a very common tactic among even leftist streamers in the content sphere, to want to say that there is something cringe about trying to put together something like a boycott, because that is a major response that you get when something like that is proposed, right? That this
Well,
is a
one
So
thing
we
quixotic
did a
task.
boycott. They
I have-
boycotted Bud Light.
to comment on is that like, I've seen this a lot over like protesting and organizing is people will try something once or twice and then lose and then give up forever. Right. So like that's one thing you have to like really worry about. Like, like if you're gonna do like a big action and it doesn't go as planned, how do you resolve the aftermath? Right. Like a lot of organizing and protests that I've been to, a lot of people have like the starry eyes. We're gonna do this and then this is gonna happen and then we're gonna win. And then like that eventually, maybe sometimes it happens, but eventually sometimes it doesn't happen. And then a bunch of people get demotivated, So like we have to like be able to have like a lasting, long-winded, you're going to lose 15,000 times before you win once approach. And
Great question.
like that's got to be a major aspect of what you drill into people by like
Mm-hmm.
education.
Okay,
Have
Andrea.
we ever seen anything like Project 2025 in any of our lifetimes before? Have we ever been on the
good point.
precipice of the cliff?
Long term, maybe, but not so
Not like this.
Not so
concise,
blatant.
Right.
But Andrea, to what you were just saying, that is exactly what I want people to be talking about strategically the day after the guy might win office. Do you know what I mean? I want people to say, now look, here's how you do this, or here are examples of how people got starry-eyed and ran out to the protest. Nothing came of it, and they just went back to their lives and ignored the issues or whatever, right? And it only gets worse. This is the kind of stuff that I want. I want everyone to like choose a topic, come up with your 20, 10, 15-minute video, whatever it is, and just have it locked and loaded. Because that is like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's all these different aspects to the things that went down from 2016 over the next 4 years, like right up until lockdown, right? For COVID, that were, just endless, like, oh my God, these piling it on. How do we deal? It's 30,000 lies. It's endless like drama that doesn't mean anything. He's just deflecting. They're a wrecking ball to all of the agencies and departments. Transparency is shot. And then he took home files and top secret classified stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, I just want somebody to like, I'll take this one. I'll take Puerto Rico flood. I'll take Women's March. I'll take
Yeah.
immigrant
Yeah.
ban. I'll take the wall. I'll take the Muslim ban. You know what I mean? Like everyone take one thing, but then come at it in terms of this is what you can do. This is how we did it wrong. This is what worked. Here's what we learned. Even if it's not like a literal, here's a checklist of what you should do, at least put all that stuff out there for people to be like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this sounds like a good idea for a big collaboration. You get a bunch of people to
That's what
pick
I'm
like one
saying.
issue, make like a 10-minute segment or something, have like a beginning, middle, end, and then stitch them together with like a documentary style narration in between segments or something. Free
Yeah,
idea.
exactly.
Anyone wants it?
Exactly.
It's yours.
Free idea, people. And also in terms of like scabs and like it being hopeless and like we're already defeated, we live in a low intensity
channel.
democracy. There are two parties who thrive off one having a slight majority so they can just fundraise and say go vote. So I've been thinking about third parties lately, and I don't mean to like dominate the mic, so I'm going to give this over to you guys, but if you want, talk about this. Third parties always come up during a presidency. And then you also hear people saying, hey, if you want to get involved, run for office. As what, a fucking Democrat? Run third party. We need a third party caucus. If there's a third party president, what good is that without a third party taking up a third of Congress or whatever?
Who has tried
So,
to
like,
build a third party? Who's been
that's what I'm
building
saying. I mean, they
it's
do
fractured,
have.
and then there's arguing.
Yeah, the
But the
third
Green
party
Party
racket
does
is this like
have.
scam artist pyramid scheme, you know, like,
I
oh, we
know,
pull the
so
rug out and then we
independent.
wait until the next generation of 18-year-olds who don't know any better to like give us a bunch of money. And like that's
Just
another
looking for a
problem. Like I think
caucus.
it would be a worthwhile project to just like go into these parties and just like, yeah, you know, the Green Party, they rigged their last primary in 2020. They just rigged it for Howie Hawkins because they didn't like that there was another guy who might actually win in a fucking primary. They did the same thing in 2016. They were like,
They
oh,
all
the
do that.
Democrats rigged the primary. And then the
and they
Greens
did
did
it.
it in 2020, right? So like, yeah, I mean, it's theoretically a worthwhile project to like just go into these party structures and bust it all up and say, like, yeah, this is like a big scam industry, you know. We got to actually get people in office, right? But like, is that really, then it goes into like the zero sum situation where is it like, wouldn't that energy be better spent in the Democratic Party? Maybe. I mean, who really knows, you know?
At least
I don't know, how do you
pressuring the Democratic candidate to actually advocate and for the people that they represent, even if you're a message candidate with no real chance of winning, which is what Bernie. I hate to go back to Bernie because obviously people in chat I'm sure are pointing out that Bernie has not been so great lately, but that was the understanding that Bernie went into the 2016 election with, was that there was very little chance of him winning, maybe a small chance of him affecting the eventual platform by his pressure, but at least that pressure was there. And at the same time, the need for a creation of a third party so that when the opportunity arises, you can get something like, I mean, the Democratic Party, by all measures, should be the conservative party, or one of the parties on the conservative side of the spectrum. Compared to almost any other country that you'd look at, right? Their policies are fairly conservative. It's a shame that is seen as the horizon of progressive, policy.
That's kind of why I might, hear me out. I'm all for people running third party at the local level, but I'm not sure I would recommend it more than, say, running as a Democrat, because, good God, I would enjoy taking money from the Democratic Party to run a progressive. I think that's practically a heist, and I support all such heists. Run as
But the
I mean,
Republican.
yeah,
Democrats,
join the Republican Party and
Yeah.
run
Democrats,
Bleed those
there.
kids.
Democrats fight harder against progressives than Republicans.
Yeah, that's why
This is
know
why
what I
you need
mean?
to run as like the corporatist to end all corporatists, right? And then like
Trojan
once
horse.
you get in, do a reverse Fetterman, you know, like you
Yes.
run
Yeah.
as like a Mehmet Oz type character, and then once you get in, you know,
You'll
then
you'll
You
know
need to
that's
dress
what I'm
up
doing.
like the Monopoly guy, right? You know, have the monocle and everything, and then just do a double Uno reverse.
Monopoly
on
guy
him.
doesn't have the monocle.
He doesn't.
Guys.
Mandela effect, no monocle. You're
That's
thinking
a-
of
Got
Mr.
me.
Peanut. I've been
You
in
got
this
me.
conversation many
No.
times.
I
You
know
got
it's
me.
got me too.
Wait,
I
is that
know.
really true?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did
he
I get
doesn't have
Mandela
it.
just
You got-
now?
Yep. You got
He has a
Mandela.
mustache.
I
But,
got
no.
Steins Gate.
Fuck.
But yeah,
Sorry.
take that bow tie
You
off,
need the smile.
turn
I
it into a
like.
He
headband.
has a monocle in some pictures. I don't know which is correct.
Yeah, the photoshopped ones that are there to fuck with you. Yeah, he's got some.
Oh my god, you're right. It's on the Mandela effect that I'm looking at it. Side note: you guys will know I am running as a reverse. What'd you call it?
Reverse
A reverse
Fetterman?
Fetterman. Yeah.
That's
If
funny.
one day all of my YouTube videos are deleted, that's why.
Speaking of Monopoly,
Irene, play it cool. If they're all deleted one day, just trust me.
Operation come up with a
Reverse
cool
Fetterman.
code word is now in effect.
Vermin.
Operation Clean Slate.
What is it? What was his name? Vermin Extreme. Was that the
Supreme.
guy?
Supreme?
Supreme. That ran
The
for
real
president?
shoe on
Yeah.
head. The real shoe
there's
on
the
head.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of
Vermin.
Monopoly, do you know a quick way to get cold hard cash?
That got me. Sorry, no, I missed the premise. What now?
I said, speaking of Monopoly, do you know a quick way to get cold hard cash?
I don't know how.
Just start keeping your money in the freezer.
Okay.
Irene, you should know
but
that
okay.
Yeah,
Matt
I'm
is
reading it
evil.
off the card, man.
That
We're
doesn't
the
make it
dad
any better.
joke- Dad joke central. Oh, Bella, he's in ours. He said put it in the freezer. God damn it, he got it before you said it.
Why aren't dogs good dancers?
I don't know why.
That's a
they
stupid
have two
fucking
left
question because
feet.
they are good
They have
dancers.
2 left feet.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
they have two
Yeah, that's why
left
they're so
feet.
good at dancing because they have 2 left feet.
Which
Oh, God,
dinosaur
they do.
had
They really do.
which dinosaur had the best vocabulary?
I don't know what.
The
Thesaurus.
thesaurus.
she
She
got,
got
it.
you.
Um,
Yay, we need the
She got you.
Did
applause
you-
button.
I told this one on my show earlier. What do you call a spider with 10 eyes?
Oh.
I don't know
A
what.
spy.
Oh, son of a gun. I was listening too.
This
And
is
it
my
made me
favorite
laugh
part of
then
the
as well.
my show, and Matt does this because God knows I need to laugh.
You got to break up the. I mean, it gets heavy, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
But
we're
it's a
looking
good
at We're
conversation.
looking at our demise.
It's.
These are
I just
important
wanted
matters
to.
to address. Yes.
I just wanted to
Dog
bring up
dancing
the.
abilities are very important.
And I have a 3-legged dog, so she does not have 2 left feet. That's not even accurate.
That's
Um,
offensive.
I have a
It's an
no-legged-
ableist joke, even.
No-legged dog.
You're right. It is. I'm gonna rip up that card. But I do think it's important to bring up on a group show with 5 of us.
Yeah.
This sort of concept of strategizing for the worst case scenario, and then how can you retro or repurpose that
Yeah.
for just the endless onslaught of BS that we're going to face from politics in general anyway. So I don't know. I thought it was worth bringing up. I think that conversation, like if you were in a
course it's
room
worth
with
it.
100 left-wing online media guys, you'd have to keep constantly be like, okay, stop digressing, bring it back, because it goes off into a million different streams of thought.
Yeah.
And
And you do need a way
everybody-
of like coalescing, around at least a shared strategy. in order to really get things done. Like Andrea was saying earlier, the coordination of any kind of action against power designed to have an effect, can very easily fail if it's not, if people aren't coordinated. And the the result of a bad the result of failing can sometimes be to leave people burned out and less able to deal with the future than they would be otherwise. So kind of planning for either eventuality, for any eventuality.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up, man, and I appreciate hearing that I'm surrounded by people that react pretty well to this stuff. You guys, you give me hope.
I'm trying to give people the opposite of hope. I want them to have cope.
And we don't
Yeah.
even cope. We don't use
That's
the word hope.
I like someone who's willing to stick in the ribs, let us know where our weak spots are, because you're not wrong. I mean, we got it. You have to prepare, I think, for the psychological side of a long fight as much as you do the actual steps.
Well, I have an example from my protesting days, like when people get hit with like stupid fake charges, like, oh, you were out past curfew or you were trespassing because you're on the sidewalk, like as stupid as that is to people that are educated, like, oh, obviously this is not going to stick, obviously this is nothing. If you're not well educated on like fake charges that the state will give to you, that scares the shit out of people. Like every protest I've ever been to, when people get like arrested for something stupid, they're not there the next day. They're gone. They gave up because they're fucking scared, or like they have a job, and then their job is like, oh, why is my employee going in and out of court? Even though technically you're not allowed to get fired because of court responsibilities. Your job's just gonna, especially in a right to work state, they're just gonna come up with some fake reason to fire you. So it fucks with people's lives, and so like that's why education is a big deal. Like you have to like study history to see what people have tried and what worked and what didn't. And when it didn't work, how did people react, and how was that reaction helpful or how was it hurtful? And these are things that like a lot of people don't talk about in online media, because frankly, a lot of people in online media have never really done things like protest. Like a lot of people have never really done things like get arrested. A lot of people have never really done things like organize. So like a lot of online media commentators are really good at telling people what they need to do. But like once you get into that field, there's really no handbook on like, all right, well, how do we go from here?
I'll tell you, I've been to quite a few protests, but I'm as a white gentleman in a suit, it's difficult to get arrested.
That's true. Yeah.
boy.
And that's like, like on a football team, I don't know anything about football though, by the way. Like that would be an important player, like the white guy in a suit is like, that's a power move in some instances, like you can use that to your advantage to benefit people that otherwise wouldn't have that benefit too.
Operation Cream Shield. I like this idea, actually. We
What
should
if the answer, as far as what to do, speaking of online content creators who don't talk about actions in their real life, is to get offline and get local and do that coordination outside of
My real
the
life.
onlooking eyes as much as you possibly can, right?
That was my life for a long
Absolutely.
time. Here.
Yeah, let's then tap that dopamine a little bit. What was a protest you truly enjoyed?
I enjoy every protest I go to.
Yeah, but what's one that was like it was a good experience? Like, yeah, it was a fun day.
Actually, one that I
The-
didn't know I was going to. I got taken to a protest on a date. One of my dates actually
That's
brought
a
me
great
to. I didn't.
idea.
Yeah, and it worked out. I mean, I wasn't ready for it, but it was a great way to jump into like kind of a spontaneous protest that that I wouldn't have known about otherwise.
That's a
I would
bold
say my
move.
most fun protest is where I gave Jair Bolsonaro the double middle finger. That would be my most fun protest.
Heck yes.
I
That's
liked
rad.
it was after Parkland, that terrible shooting at Parkland, and there was it was the youth rallying these protests in cities all across the country at the exact same time, and everyone was supposed to like march to like a local government building or something like that.
I
And
went to the DC one
it
of
was good.
those, and there was like a million fuckers there.
Yeah, it
March
was wild for my town.
during the March for Our Lives protests, myself and a bunch of other news folks who now I realize I cannot name. So if I say a name, I made it up and it was a different person. But myself and a bunch of other news folks who weren't supposed to be in protests went anyway. And I remember we drove across the country to be in DC, and we
You
the
probably ran
show
into each other.
we went together, and the show called Future Man had just come out on, I think, Hulu. And I just have a very fond memory of all staying in an Airbnb and watching Future Man and getting very drunk. It was good. Good time. Gone on a couple, now that I think about it, gone on a couple protest dates as well. It's a
So
surprisingly romantic atmosphere.
It's a real
Ah.
quick way to see if this person is worth any more time whatsoever. So think of it that way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if they're yawning, like, oh, when's this wrap up? You're like, all right, I don't see much of
All
a
right. When's
future.
this wrap up? Yesterday. So
You both show up and they're dressed like the Nazis that are counter protesting. You're like, oh, and I
Oh.
thought,
Oh no.
Wrong side.
yikes.
It has been just over an hour. If anybody wants to bail, feel free.
I'm
It's
gonna
technically a
bill
1 hour show.
you for my time here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For any of you, what do you think historically in the last, I don't know, pick a time frame, was the most successful protest out there that actually made a difference?
I think the Black Panthers free lunch program.
And that was in the 1960s.
Thereabouts.
Yeah, were they called they were probably just took the name Black Panthers, right?
I don't know
From
the
the
exact
original
years
Black Panthers?
when it was instituted because I haven't read a book on the 60s in a while, but yeah, I mean, I would say that created an actual institution that helped people. Then again, in the 80s, they turned school lunch into like a way to feed kids poison so that they would be sick all the time. So
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't so
corporate
good.
food. Yeah, when the corporate
I have this
food took over.
I have this great graphic novel on the history of the Black Panthers. I should read that again.
Online, read it online. Bring and show it.
Do a
No.
storybook time.
Oh, would
I mean,
that
I
be
reviewed
copyrighted?
it, but
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. But I mean,
There was
I'm not going to read a comic book to people.
There's a small scale protest that I saw recently that was tremendously effective. A young lady laid down and refused to just participate in society until I agreed to carry her on my shoulders, despite the fact that I was exhausted and she is getting very heavy. This was my niece. It was an
I was gonna
effective
say, what
protest,
is this?
I have to say. A general strike. She proved the concept very, very well. Just full
Teach
on
'em young.
spaghetti body, flopping over, and
Indoctrinate the youth.
yeah. No, most successful recent protests. I'm bummed that I don't have a clear answer for you. I would have said the BLM ones, but I
Yeah.
think that's going to be one of those things where we're still too close to it to tell long term what the effects were.
Pink
Well,
Barrio
I
in my chat said
liked
Vietnam. And they were not
Oh.
commercialized protests like things I've been to.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
You know,
Jake, I think those protests did a lot for the masses in terms of
Yes.
exposing police brutality.
Mhm.
I think
Absolutely.
before that, it was like those protesters deserved it. You shouldn't have been there. If you don't want to get beat up, don't go to the protest. And it's like, what are you talking about? And then I think when you see like some old man getting beat down,
Yeah,
or
right
like
here in Buffalo.
there were senior citizen, like, little, the quote unquote little
Mhm.
old ladies out there getting beat up by cops.
And just spreading
And
awareness to know
Yeah.
that, like, if you see a black teen surrounded by 2 cops on the side of the road, you should get out your phone and record it. Like, just know
Yeah.
that the police, like, the protests of BLM, I'm not sure that in the long term their legislative effects will be easy to directly chart. But I do know there's a general sense in the populace now that our responsibility as fellow citizens needs to be taken up. And that includes having an understanding that there is systematic racism in the United States and frankly around the world
Yeah.
against black folks. And crazy enough, black lives matter. So we should take that responsibility into consideration from this moment in history
Okay.
forward, including
Here's
getting that cell phone out.
a hypothetical.
Mhm.
Trump's reelected. Day one, he signs into law. No more public protest.
Well, you protest.
Do you
Private
protest it?
protest.
Do you go right out into the
Sorry,
street?
you can't come to my protest, officer. You're not on a list. It's a private protest. My apologies.
But
Yeah, there you go.
Genius.
Yeah,
Stand in your
but they
front lawn.
won't. Well, they certainly are not going to give you the permit. So you're
well,
going
but
to.
now the cops have full, they get the green light to beat everybody up,
Sure.
right?
And that they're
Whoever
talking
they
about the
want.
robot dogs now. That
Well, I mean,
will
Do you
that's
just
go out
not
go in
there?
there.
actually. I mean, that is a scary proposition because there was the protest, right? And we all saw what happened. We all saw what spurred the protest in the first place, and we all saw what happened to people during the protest. And there was a good portion of America that had made up its mind what side they were on, and that got pulled right out from under us. The narrative got stolen and got recast as the menacing danger of this roving mob of protesters, rather than the true story, which is people organizing, people working together, people bringing attention to something that needs to change, that hasn't changed, or nobody's been able to affect change on it. And then to have that turn into almost a weapon against any of those efforts to, abolish, to defund, to reform, even the police. A lot of the, localities ended up being able to pivot to the exact opposite of that. And I mean, that's a lesson that really has to be learned, is that, there's a rhetorical battle for the meaning of things like this that can be, taken away from the movement and perverted and turned on its head.
Absolutely.
That's why, like,
You're right.
one of my big things is whenever you're at any sort of protest or organization, like, if people ask questions or like don't know something, you should always try to like inform them on certain things. Like, protests should not be about like one thing that it's a big misnomer, I think, with a lot of people that go to protests is like people go to protest because they want to see a change, and that is like almost that's the least likely outcome from a protest. Like, you're not going to go to a protest and then police brutality disappears. Like,
Right.
you're not going to go to a protest and then guns are going to get banned. You're not going to go to a protest and then the climate's going to be saved. But what you can do is meet people, educate people, become educated, learn
Network.
protest tactics, learn what works, what doesn't work, study police behavior. When I would go to protests that had like SWAT presence, I would always study how they look at each other, what kind of finger moves they would do, like what kind of like things that they would, like what kind of assemblies they would do. Cause it's like, it's better to study these environments because you never know when you're going to need to escape. Like if you can tell people, hey, cops are about to come like running for our asses. If you can give someone a 5-second head start because you're familiar with that kind of body language, that 5 seconds can save someone, you know? So like that is what protesting really should be. Like, you know, telling people to use it as a learning experience and not like, you know, but a lot of people go to a protest, oh, we're going to solve this problem or we're, you know, and
No, it takes
that's the
years
least
of
likely outcome.
years of civil disobedient maneuvers and things like what Just Oil and what Extinction Rebellion is doing over in the UK and has done here. But we in the United States don't have the kind of protests that are disruptive anymore. Not like that. Nope. And I know going to Philly, we were prepared because we didn't know what to expect. Me and Kia, we brought gas masks. We didn't know, what was going to happen. And it turned out it was 98 degrees and the cops were giving us water. We're putting water out. Nobody was getting beaten up.
I
But
think
nobody
the
knew.
target of the protests is important as well. Who are you embarrassing by putting a bunch of people standing together saying a thing somewhere, or who are you pressuring? In many cases, it's politicians at the end of the day, but sometimes it is the general populace as well, as if to say, you have done all of this, you have permitted this. We're here. We are nailing the list of your sins to the door.
And that's
But
the kind
either
of
way,
thing
you're
that
right. It's not a one and done thing.
that's the kind of thing that, like Andrea said, it takes a lot longer to soak in. When the protest is literally against the complacency of the public, that is not a message that's going to be swallowed super easily, and not a something that's going to go through with just one protest. So
We've had a couple protests which have become damn near general strikes. And I think the only thing that stopped them from snowballing into that is a lack of awareness about how close we were. And I'm thinking of what did they call it? The Million Woman March after Trump got elected. The March for Our Lives, the Black Lives Matters marches. If you have a couple of those events overlapping, and you have a cohesion of those groups happening, sudden and radical control is not out of the realm of possibility to be taken for progressives, or just frankly anybody who wants a sane world. But again, I say you're right that we have to. It's as you were saying. All of this is just to say that doesn't happen with one protest. That happens when protest movements collide.
Yeah.
I envision a world of endless protest, 24/7.
I envision a world where we
It's
don't
like taking
have to.
shifts.
How about that?
Yeah, but I like
envision
to
us winning
prepare for the
eventually.
worst. Like
I don't think that's
the
a bad thing, Matt.
anti-corporatists said, "Stop talking about Trump getting reelected." All right, man. Well, we'll all stop talking about it, and then when it happens, we'll be like, somebody
I mean,
should have
I
won.
would hope that
It's not
nobody's
that-
taken by surprise by that. After, I mean, in 2016, maybe, if you were reading the papers, you would be surprised by, looking at the media analysis of it, you'd be surprised by it. But at this point, it's got to be the expected result, save that something extraordinary happens.
It should be prepared for. I think it should be
Absolutely.
fought against and prepared for. Absolutely.
I mean, I
The
hate it.
preppers are
Believe me,
building
I don't want
bunkers.
to talk about it. I have been despising Donald Trump. I was born in 1974. I cannot remember a time when I wasn't like, stop talking about this fucking guy. Oh my God. Like my whole life, my childhood, friends of mine were like, I want to be rich as Trump. And I'm like, you're pathetic.
Ugh,
Oh, they're
Like
in a
that's
cult.
just,
ruined one of my favorite
It's a
Nelly
cult.
songs.
We need to learn.
well, no, but Sandy, I'm talking about
deprogramming.
like my fellow 8 and 9-year-old friends. You know
Oh.
what I mean? Like when I was
when
a
he
little
was on
kid, they
TV.
would say,
Yeah,
they weren't in a cult. They were brainwashed by
back in the day.
the media, and he's our Rockefeller, and my whole life I've
Oh, I
been
remember
disgusted
that.
by it.
I hated
So believe
him.
me,
I watched the
believe me, I'm
matches.
ready for it to be over. I'm ready to never
Yeah.
talk about that guy
Just think,
again. I
though,
want him in jail. They're
if we
not
play
going to
our
put him in
cards
jail.
right, we're all gonna be watching Trump's funeral at some point in time.
But will they bury
True.
him on the
Yeah,
golf
at some
course?
point.
You should start
Unless he
exercising
pulls
again. You're right.
unless he pulls a Kissinger and lasts till he's like 100.
Oh,
Even
oh,
then,
Matt,
I
you
think
just
he can
ruined
still
my
make it.
whole night.
But
It's true.
anyway, I think that
all of us have it in us. Let's do it. Everybody,
I think
eat,
we
eat a
need to
vegetable tonight.
Oh,
I
I
think we
ate
need to
many
work
vegetables.
we need to work toward the you know how they say, "Oh, I feel like I got to do everything all at once. We got to fight the Democrats. We got to fight the establishment. We got to beat the Republicans." This is what I say. We do not have to win. We just need to be unbeatable. Okay? Think about it's a basketball game. If you go out there trying to win, all right, good luck. If you can be unbeatable, now you're doing offense and defense at the same time. You need to be the unbeatable team. Stop trying to win, be unbeatable. So that's what I would call my memo.
I like
How do we stop trying to win and start learning to be unbeatable? That's what you need to
like
do, so that anytime something comes up, you're like, poof, down. Anything that arises, any problem, you're like, I got it for that. Put that there, over, moving on. You address the obstacles and the dilemmas and the problems. You solve everything. You become unbeatable. There's no way to be perfect at it, but that's the mindset, right? Stop trying to
There is
win, right?
there is like a consciousness that's unbeatable, right? And there at a certain level, right? I mean that is what's unbeatable is an emergent consciousness
Yeah, I think
that
I get
connects
what you're
us
saying.
all, and it's easy to say, hard to achieve, but
Mm-hmm. That makes
And are you
sense.
saying like an awareness of how all this functions that is emerging from the just new communication we have available?
I mean, it's
Me?
something, very old that's been taken away from us by the alienation of capitalism. And not just at one point, but over and over and over again. It's been aggregated, and we've been left without that connection. And in terms of knowing like when to go in and when to hold back, like Andrea was talking about earlier, it's instrumental, the connection between all of us that we have, the fundamental contradiction between the interests of the vast majority of all of us and the people that are benefiting from this system. It's that kind of consciousness that I think it allows you to become unbeatable.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there, my friend.
Yeah, I think trying to win is overwhelming. And if you set out to win, there's an option where you can lose. And I don't play games like I said, if my dishwasher breaks, guess what? I'm washing dishes by hand. I don't have to be in the dishwasher game. Fuck you,
It's a good
dishwashing
game.
industry.
I got a new dishwasher
I,
recently. Oh my God. Is it a fucking
hey man,
godsend? Oh Jesus.
use
The
use
time
a plate,
saving,
wash it.
the water
Use a
saving,
bowl,
the
wash it.
fucking it's fun to look at when it's washing. It opens up by itself to let the steam out. Like, oh, what a contraption. I'm a huge fan of dishwashers, let me tell you.
All right.
Do you love opening it up after the fact to kind of just like get that freshness of
And then
the
I can't
freshly
see for at least like, 40 minutes,
it's in your
because my
glasses?
glasses,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
Oh, well,
great.
you
And
have
then
to
the
have
fog
one
gets
to
into
work.
my like retinas and then like I go blind,
But
Oh,
you see my
yeah.
point.
I do appreciate the difference between a play and a strategy. Absolutely. And I like your shifting of the way of looking at it there. Just being unbeatable as opposed to winning in an individual moment.
Yeah, like I
There's
play a lot
power
of
in that.
tennis. Every tennis game I play, I don't go out there thinking, well, I'm going to win. I go out there thinking the ball won't get past me. I will return the serve. I will try to hit it where my opponent should be or just was. You know what I mean? I'm
I
just
like it. Yes.
trying to figure out the right way to do it and be
I have
good
a
at it
question about
and
tennis.
not, I'm going to
Strategic
win.
thinker.
Yeah.
How
He's
many
such a
different
strategic
opponents have you had?
Oh, I just my wife and I play.
Well, the way you said
We're-
it, it's like you make it sound like you're a professional tennis champion. It's like
Like
my opponent
3
will never beat me. Like, aren't you just like playing games with
No,
your,
that's
I
how
don't know.
that's how people do sports. They treat it like an opponent, whereas I'm just trying to make myself a better player. That's why I use the word opponent, because that doesn't matter. And my wife and I play like 3 or 4 times a week anyway, so it's a lot.
I'm
I
just
hit
saying,
myself in
like,
the face today.
just to
I
be
tried
clear,
to
not
hit
a
the
professional.
I was gonna hit the ball, right? And I was it was so forceful, and then when I missed the ball, it hit me right. I swore it was gonna be a black eye. It's just I don't know if you could tell, it's a little swollen. I hit
No, you
myself
just
That's
right.
I
enough for
can
me.
tell.
Well, it could have been worse, and it wasn't. So yeah. Well, I think in our country we are so competitive to the point of sick. You know, when the
Right.
sports teams come, the Buffalo Bills, oh, it's to the point of crazy. I even saw Trump signs come down when the Bill signs went up.
I used to
Make
agree with
room
you,
one
but this
sign
is
at a time.
the first year of my life where the Detroit Lions are justifying calling themselves professional athletes. So until
Thank
the end
you.
of this
Thank
football
you.
season.
Thank you. But I do think I don't know. I just love putting stuff out there that I think of in this group environment, and so
not?
that's why I'm so fortunate for the show.
It's great.
Hanging
And
out with
I
you
am
guys.
feeling fortunate to hang out with you guys. Totally.
Same, but gang, I gotta tell you, my voice is going. I might actually have to scram.
Your voice is going? Where's it
It
going?
is, yes.
Going,
I have.
God.
It's doing that thing where it feels unnaturally dry.
Have you tried getting water?
Yeah, like drink water through the
I've
whole
been
show.
sucking these things down the
Oh,
entire
okay.
time. I
What
mean, I'm
are
not
the
gonna drink
things?
water.
I'm usually that
What is that
person
stuff?
that's
Fish
dry with
in
the
it.
lip
It's not a
gloss and
Dixie
the
cup,
dry.
is it?
Who's
It's
to
the
say?
Koch brothers.
It's got the symbol for recycling on it, and not the devil star. So I assume it's not the Koch brothers.
Okay.
No.
Well, most
there was
recycling symbols are on products that are not actually recyclable, just so that they can convince you that what you're buying isn't just complete garbage.
But I've been using it over and over in a very unsanitary manner, so I am recycling it.
There you go.
I'll never forget
Might
this segment
explain
I
the
saw.
problems.
I saw this MSNBC segment in like 2016. It was Stephanie Rule and Ali Velshi, where they had Velshi and Rule. They had their own show in the mornings.
I remember.
And
that.
I was just getting into online media. I didn't really understand the difference at the time. I can explain all that at another time. But they said in this segment, they were like, so who are the Koch brothers? Let's talk about this. And I was like, okay, yeah, because these are bad guys. So let's talk about it. And they go, they provide several household products like Dixie cups and blah, blah, blah. And they started going down this list of things. And they're like,
Oh,
so even
my
if you don't know them, they're in your life, they're in your home. And I was like, are you
They were
fucking
advertising for them?
justifying that that it's okay that they back politicians and buy off politicians and the government? And I was like, oh my
So that's worth
God.
the
I was like, they
treason.
obviously
Dixie cups.
own you guys too. Yeah, I'll never forget that. And that's why when people are like, they fired Ali Velshi, I was like, okay, don't care. I mean, yeah, okay, they fire a guy for the wrong reasons. I hear you. Or they take him off air
Right.
because he's
Was it Ali
promoting
Velshi?
Gaza or whatever.
But they still
Really?
were shills or they unintended.
Yeah, but like,
shills.
what was he doing anyway? Like, I get he was treated unfairly, but what? I mean, that guy sold out a long time ago.
My gosh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so Jake, are you gonna roll out?
I'm
Look at
gonna
Jake. He's
scram.
like, how do I turn this off?
No, I had to look up Velshi. I
Oh.
can't believe they got him as well in this most recent round.
Yeah.
I normally, Jen, leave with something witty, but instead this time I wanted to inform you that I'm going.
That guy every time, man.
Just
Every time.
boom. Well,
It's
now
a
I can see you guys bigger.
That's my first
like a-
time experiencing the disappearance.
The Batman style
He
just rolls out.
Cloud of smoke.
Bye, Jake.
Glitch
Let's see. Are
exit.
people still on his? He's still on my YouTube because there's such a lag. but Jake's channel is still up there, I think. Andrea's channel. Yeah. Well, we all stay up there. Even if I leave, Irene, I go
Now
lay
I
in
can
bed.
see the infinite webcams.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you? Yeah, they're in my frame. That's
Yeah,
just the
I see
famous
it.
infinite regress. This is one of the things that you'll experience on my stream from time to time when I mess up on tech and really create an image within an image within an image within an image, which is kind of like what you were getting at earlier, Matt, as far as reacting to a streamer who's reacting to a streamer who's debating a streamer, and where does it actually end? That's the question that I try to find out every week in my exploration of the infinite regress.
I'm telling you, it's the human centipede.
It is, yeah. I've seen
Is
it
it an
up close.
overlay?
It tried to
Is
eat
that
me.
an overlay?
Yeah,
Watch
it's an
out.
overlay. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
StreamYard? You have StreamYard?
Oh no, this is actually OBS that I'm
Okay.
using,
It's
but I'm
OBS.
sending
We
my
all use different
OBS
stuff.
through a virtual camera into
Right.
into Matt's StreamYards
Yeah.
to.
That's cool. We could do that on Ecamm. I just haven't learned how to do it yet, and I don't know if it
Who's
would work. But
is this? You, Sandy? 50 pounds?
what?
Do you know Scaly Bubble?
No, that's Andrea.
Is that
Wow,
me?
50
Yep.
pounds.
Somebody gave you
Do I know
some
Scaly Bubble?
European
You do
money,
now.
honey.
Here's
And it's
some
Christmas,
free money.
and my people
for
are
you to-
generous, and I don't expect
Maybe it's
anything.
Jake.
So it
Remember
says
that?
No,
here's
it was
some
been there for a while.
here's some free money for you to complain about happy holidays. Do you guys want to complain about?
No.
Oh, I fucking hate the holidays. I hate
Yeah, I get
happy
depressed.
people. I prefer no happiness in my life.
How do you feel about
Aw.
Christmas music?
I feel
I
like
love
Christmas
exploring.
music is it's mostly horrendous, but like there are some bangers. You can find some bangers.
I
There
used it on my show last night, along with nuclear bomb videos. Played Christmas songs.
I like
I
the
just look at
spooky
it like-
Christmas music.
You like the what?
Like,
Shit,
Oh, the
Scaly
like what?
Bubble, that was me.
The spooky
Yeah,
kind. You know how there's
yeah.
like there's spooky Christmas music in addition to like regular Christmas music, like
what
that
do
one
you
where
mean?
it's like do 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 do. Yeah, Tchaikovsky is an example of spooky Christmas music.
I agree.
I just like exploring or getting a taste of various traditions and stuff like that. And I feel like Christmas music is sort of that. And yeah, my family played a lot, a very musical family. But I think that, and a huge family, and we'd have these massive get-togethers and like sing and make music, and it was all at Christmas. It was just that theme, and so like I know a lot of that stuff. But I it's like Sam Cedar said in that old CNN clip about the war on Christmas, where he goes, "It's kind of like somebody coming up to me and wishing me a happy birthday on their birthday," which I think is really accurate. It's like, Merry Christmas. I don't celebrate. Why are you saying that? It's your holiday, right? And so I think that there's something like that, but I don't think there was a war. I think that maybe there was a time where some people were like, "Hey, we should say happy holidays because it encompasses more than just the Christian
Yeah,
version of
sure it does.
this wintry time of year." But then I think those people were like, "You're saying we can't be Christian." Whereas
Oh.
if you look at it, a lot of the stuff that's been in front of the Supreme Court as far as Christian rights is in itself a means of discriminating against people, right?
It's like a detour around the establishment clause. Like it's like a workaround or to what I
Yeah.
mean. It's basically backdooring at least the concept of the Christian nation that the conservatives are always telling us we actually are. If you go back to the founding fathers, they were all religious men and thus must
Thomas
have intended.
Jefferson loved the Bible so much he made his own because he was such a
Right.
fan. You know,
He
he
needed
loved it.
his own edition.
Don't read it though, because you'll be very disappointed.
Andrea the scholar. Yes.
I think
Andrea,
we need
we are
alternate
back
Bibles
here.
though.
Oh, alternate? Have
Yeah,
we
like
ever seen
different-
like the most authentic version even?
The most authentic version.
As a staunch atheist, I like to say that no one's actually read the Bible, because the Bible that exists now, one, it's not even all the books, because like a lot of the books didn't even make it to when the Bible was formed. And then most people like read like some stupid King's interpretation where you like handpicked the translation to like make King sound like a reasonable concept, you know? So I
Who
think
didn't
it's fair to
agree with the Bible even? Yeah, I mean,
yeah, like
I'm dying
and
to
it's
know
just
what was in it.
yeah, like I remember reading a story about how like, there's like the lost books of the Bible and they never made it in. What's in there? What if one guy in one of these books was like, yeah, we found out Jesus wasn't actually magical, but he was a great guy and that should be maybe that, maybe it
What
was
if
in the
there's
Bible.
aliens in there somewhere?
Oh
Right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Don't even get me
There
started.
are.
I have seen so much Ancient Aliens documentation. I believe it. It's true. It's more likely than Christianity. Let's just put it that way. So, on the power ranking of what's a believable religion, aliens, and then like a bunch of the greater than signs, Christianity. Like that would be my.
It is such
Yeah,
a
like
wild
when
religion.
when
Go
they
ahead.
said heaven, they meant literally right there in the sky. But we all imagine it as like somewhere in the beyond. And they were like, no, no, no. It was translated. They should have just said right there in the sky. And like the serpent in the Garden of Eden, they were like, that's just what we called it. That's not what was. My point is like the shit that we've been taught and read is not what was originally in there. So when people go, it's in the Bible, it's like, well, hold on a second.
Ugh.
Which
I
version
also
are
love
you
how it's called
reading?
the Bible. Like there's only one. It's not like it's the most wildly misinterpreted book of all time. No, it's just the Bible. It's just one. The. How about a Bible? Can we just start calling it a Bible? Yeah, it's in a Bible. That's true. It is in a Bible. That's an accurate statement.
Mhm. And
So I don't
everybody's got
know.
one.
I'm struggling with not which comic book to because I recommend a comic book to all my guests, and I'm kind of like there's like 10 that I want to recommend to David Feldman, and I'm sort of leaning toward the Book of Genesis as adapted by R. Crumb. Do you guys know R. Crumb,
Yes.
the famous underground? He adapted the Book of Genesis, and
Yes.
conservatives and Christians would criticize him for they're like, how dare you make fun of the Bible? And he
Yeah.
goes, this is the most accurate adaptation you'll
Mhm.
ever find. He has like
What a
notations,
good
a whole
idea.
section in the back for notations, and he did it so accurately. He's like, guess what? I did it because I've read it so many times, and it's fascinating and totally incoherent. And there's a lot of like shameful stuff in there, and like real like just it's just messed up a lot of the time, or it's really abstract, and it's like, why is this even in here? And
You
like
gave me an
he did it
idea.
all. He did every page of it. So I was thinking about recommending that.
Is
It's a
Mr.
really fun
Natural?
book.
Does God look like Mr. Natural? Of the
No,
famous
God
R.
looks
Crumb
like
character?
me.
no,
God is a
I don't
woman.
want to.
God looks
I
like
don't
don't
want
wanna
to
me.
spoil
ruin
it.
it. But like he goes into detail in the back of the book about why he chose to depict the devil the way he did and why God the way he did, and it's all there though. There's that one section that said this person begat this person begat this person. It just goes on and on
Numbers.
and on and on. Well, so okay, so maybe it's a different. Maybe it's like the sons of David or something like that. But there's a section in the book of Genesis where it's like, dude, you're gonna have to draw dozens of different faces, and he just does it. He draws every single person they mention. And sometimes I'm like, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi? Who's he drawing there? Right. So like I thought maybe he was using like a bunch of reference, because how do you make up all those different faces? Because nobody knows what these people look like, right?
Hmm.
But anyway,
Do
it's
What an
incredible. It's
Western
black and white.
imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gave me an idea for my Christmas show using
You're
art
gonna read
crumb.
the book of Genesis? Oh.
I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
yet,
cool. That's cool.
but I think
Yeah,
I
it is
already made the
interesting.
note. I made the note. I'm going to do some research, and you gave me some intellectual homework here.
Letterhack, I have an idea for you.
Hmm.
So we talked about Doom earlier. Well, the game that came out before Doom was called Wolfenstein 3D. That's the one where you have a knife, right? There was a Christian video game software developer in the early 90s. I forget what it's called. They made a total conversion, which means they replaced all the graphics and music of Wolfenstein 3D, and it's called Super Noah's Ark 3D. And you play as Noah, and you try to get the animals on the ark. So like the Nazis are replaced with animals, and you have like the thing, like whatever it is, and you're supposed to like get them back on the ark.
His
So that's
staff.
maybe a future project. It's like a
Yeah, let's
staff,
do
I
that.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be Boomer Gamer Volume 2.
There you go.
I think that's a great idea. But anyway, we're back here at like 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Right?
I have to. My sleep schedule. Let me tell you a story, because my sleep schedule has been,
Yeah.
you know, it's fucked. I've been doing these projects where like it, you know, my passion comes when it comes, and like one night I just got a great idea when it's like 9 p.m. and it's like, oh, I should go to sleep in an hour, but it's like I really got this good idea, and then I like, oh, it's 2:30 in the morning, and then like for 3 weeks I've just been sleeping like 2:30 to like fucking noon. And this week, because of this fucking bullshit tomorrow, this week I've been trying to like inch my sleep schedule back, and now tonight it's all fucked again. So thanks a lot.
Guess what, Andrea? Maybe you and Matt won't be staying up till all hours.
I'm trying to end it now. I'm trying to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Well,
but
then,
Irene
It's a
is
good
not leaving.
time.
Usually our
It's-
guests leave. You know?
Is that what's expected of the guest, to call the shots on?
Exactly. Yeah.
the
Like
time
we
to end
can't
it all.
say like, oh, sorry, you got to get out of here, because that's rude. You know, like I can't do that. But
But it's
Yeah,
funny how
But you just
the
did. So
stream stays
anyway, I will
on.
take the hint and
no,
But the stream
make myself
stays on.
scarce.
no, you can stay as long as you want.
No,
I
but
mean-
seriously,
It's
you
not
all
all
probably
over
do
our
need to
channel.
get some sleep, and
I know,
that
I'm
sounds like an
tired.
early morning, especially if you're talking East Coast time. If
Oh,
it's
hell
10 o'clock
yeah.
East Coast time, you don't have much time. So,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, it has been lovely to.
You're welcome
Oh,
back
yeah.
on anytime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's
maybe
a
not
fun,
anytime. Maybe not next week.
show.
But the week
Well,
after.
you've got to have some other guests, don't you? So yeah, well, thank you for being so gracious in offering me your hospitality, your holiday hospitality, and I
I'm
really
excited
enjoyed.
to watch you.
All right, well, good. Same, and I will come back at some point. I'll have my people call your people, and they'll do
Alright.
lunch. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, well, good
That
night,
sounds
everybody,
great.
and I will see you
All right,
on the
sweetie
flip
pie.
side.
Have a good one.
I can
Great.
Good
figure out how
night,
to
Thanks a
do
Irene.
lot.
studio.
I am also going to say goodnight because I had a busy day and I love you guys. And I know you and Andrea, you'll be on the stream all night. Maybe not
Yeah.
tonight. Andrea, get some rest. All right, guys. Peace out to my chat. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to every single one of us.
Thank you, Sandy's chat. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
So didn't you tell me, I meant to ask you this.
Oh,
Didn't
no.
you one time say that when we like make mistakes, that is a sign that's more like a glitch, and it's a sign that we live in a simulation? Wasn't that you?
I mean, I've said something similar to that.
What
when it
was
comes
it
to
though? Because that's
ghosts.
what I'm trying to. That's what it was. Okay,
Yeah, like a lot of people, well, like, so our, like, it's not like the world that we see is literally the world that exists, right? Everything gets filtered through the brain, right? Like, we don't see X-ray, you know, like there's X-ray everywhere, there's ultraviolet everywhere. We can't see it. There's no flower that looks like X-ray, you know? So it's like, our brain is not perfect. There are sometimes temporary lapses in perception, right? So like, you know, if it's really tired, you know, this is the classic one, is the sleep paralysis demon. You know, like you can't, like you're in bed, you can't get up, and then you see like a demon hovering over you. That's just because you're tired, bro.
happened to me
The
last
lights
night.
are out.
Happened to me
Yeah,
last night.
that demon's not real. You made it up because you're living in La La Land. He's not a real demon.
My
What are you
wife was
fucking-
shaking me. She said, hey, because I was like doing that. I was making noises or whatever. And in the morning, she goes, "Do you remember that?" And I was like, "Not really." And I kind of described it to her, and she's like, "Well, we were watching Godzilla versus King Kong right before we went to bed." And I was like,
Yeah.
maybe
But
that
yeah,
was
like
it.
I
But
think
I
most
have
people,
paralysis all the time.
like when they experience something like that, they're like most people are superstitious and like they know about ghosts as a concept, so they just apply. It's not a temporary glitch in perception, it's just ghosts, you know. And you could lean into the simulation there. That's possible. It's a.
No, but it was ghosts. That's what I was trying to remember. I was like, somebody told me a theory I was interested in. I can't remember it. And anyway,
I'm
I
always
knew it
coming up
had
with
to do.
fucked up theories.
What I like is the there there was a version of that show Ghost Hunters that was always just debunking when it first started. And I like that because they'd say, okay, where in your house do you think you experience apparitions or a haunting? And they would say, okay, there's a vent right here. Where's this vent go to? And they go down the basement. There'd be a shelf full of all these chemicals and paint and stuff. And they're like, you guys are just getting high.
Yep.
Sometimes they were like, what's on the other side of this wall? And they're like, that's our server room. And they go over there and they're like, I don't know, you got a lot of electricity and wires over here. If this is where you're experiencing a haunting, maybe you should rethink if it's a real ghost or not. But
Yep.
that's
Yep.
what I think. Do you I don't believe in ghosts though.
I wish I did. I really do. I like I say to everyone who thinks ghosts are real, I'm like, if you have a haunted house, I'm there. You know where I can go. I've walked through cemeteries at night, like doing the prayers and the seances. I fucking brought candles to the graveyard and like I've done the whole like the obvious stuff. Never seen them. I have seen a lot of shadows in the corner of my periphery. Why? Because your brain doesn't really process the periphery vision. It's just filling in gaps. So I have seen that. If those are the ghosts y'all are talking about, or it's like, people, this is a thing that people experience, auditory hallucinations, right? Like you can hallucinate visually. You can also hallucinate auditory, wise, like audibly. I don't know what the word is. So it's like, yeah, you hear something, you don't really know what it was. Like maybe the mailman's, I had this happen to me a couple days ago. Like the mailman was like talking on a cell phone or whatever while they were delivering the mail. So I heard like faint talking and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, there's a person out there. And then all of a sudden it's no longer, God's whispering to me, or it's like, oh, my dead grandma's whispering to me. It's like, oh, it's the mailman on the phone outside. Like, so like a lot of the times that's what they just attribute it to ghosts because they don't know what else it could be, and they've heard a lot of ghost stories. So
My grandmother swore she used to see ghosts and angels and stuff. And so
she was lying to you.
I
I got bad news. Your grandma's a liar.
I so whatever it was, she had tons of photo albums and stuff. So I at one point was like determined to look at every single photo of her that was taken after my grandfather passed away to see if was he in it somehow? Was there an orb? Like a light? Was there like a phantom hand or something, right? Like I was like, all right, if there's the slightest 0.00001% chance that she's right, maybe it would make itself visible through photography. And so I looked at everything. Nothing. I didn't see anything. But for a while
Spam
there, I
artist.
was like, this could be fun. Well, she didn't get
Yeah, it's a
anything out
good
of it.
project. Like while you're doing it, yeah, that's a hell of a project.
She didn't get anything out of it. Oh, look at this. Hold on.
Oh no, we are
Um,
49 minutes past the hour.
it's 1:50 a.m. on the East Coast. Oh no, 11:50 p.m. What am I looking at? We've been on the air for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Oh, jeez. Well, I'm tired.
Absolute
Okay.
psychopath.
So in the morning, we need to connect in advance of going live because we're going to do this a little differently.
I'll try to get on
The
around 9:30.
The connectivity on what, Discord?
Yeah, like on and we can set things up territory. Unless you want me to get on earlier. You think we need more than half an hour to set it up? I don't think so.
No, I'm going to get on, have some Gatorade, a banana, stretch, like do keyboard, mouse exercise, do my
This is what
eyes,
I do.
do like this. Oh, okay.
Well, what you got to do is you got to force blink, and then alternate. So that way you strengthen each eye, right? Because when you're blunk, your eyes are, takes adjusting. You got to get good at both eyes. Ah! Oh, Jesus.
Jump scare.
Oh, no. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. What the fuck was that?
Jump scare.
Holy shit. Oh, my God.
That should be everyone's screensaver.
That reminds me of, like, I have a younger half brother, and when we were both young, I would, on the shared computer we would use, I would change the desktop wallpaper like while he was sleeping. So we would get on the computer in the morning and then like shake the mouse and the computer comes on and it's like some like scary ass picture and he would like wake everyone in the house up. And I did that almost every time to the point where like he would get really scared of like actually opening the computer. And I think I traumatized him a little bit, but I thought it was funny. So
I would take in the office, I would take everyone's, like I'd go to somebody's computer, take everything on their desktop and move it into a folder, assuming they didn't have anything open. And then but before that, I would screenshot the entire desktop and set that as the background. So it would look like, so you're sitting there clicking on files like, what the fuck? And then, if you would have to notice the one folder that wasn't there before.
Oh,
man. It had all your stuff in it. That was good, right?
That's good.
I was really proud of myself for figuring that out.
Fun fact, I don't use
a
desktop. I don't have desktop icons. I have a black photo, just black color. I don't wallpaper and icons. I'm past that point in my life. I don't know. Don't need it.
Same. Yeah. I either have some default thing that's not too spectacular or it's just solid black.
There you go.
It's got to be mission critical. But like I did some things, like some very creative things to like not like screenshotting backgrounds, but it just made me think like my whole youth I used to do some very creative things to like either prank people or get stuff. Like I should tell you what I used to do to get cigarettes when I was a teenager and I smoked. I'd probably be in like Guantanamo Bay these days.
Well, what did you do?
Well, in my hometown of Annapolis, there was the United States Naval Academy. And I knew that, it's part university. And we knew one of my friend's parents worked in the university. And there was one building, educational building, where in the basement, there was a cigarette machine. And you could get like a whole pack of cigarettes for $1. And this is when they were like $2.50. And so we were like, we need access to that thing. Well, we found a service door, like a janitorial door that was unlocked 24/7. You want to talk about a video game?
Door. God damn.
Yeah, you want to talk about a video game. First, we go through our neighborhood. cross these old train tracks where no train ran anymore onto the housing area, cross a major street, go through a combination lock gate. Now we're on base. Now we go through more housing, higher end housing, through a cemetery,
Gotta go through the
literally across an obstacle course, the one that the midshipmen used, right?
That's good.
Literally have to go through the obstacle course. We're along the river, the Severn River. So there's MP boats patrolling with spotlights on the obstacle course. So we were like dressed in all black, hiding in the bushes, hiding in the cemetery,
This is
hiding
good.
behind
This
the
is a
obstacles.
caper. That's what this is. This is a
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
classic caper.
Exactly. And then so there'd be like 4 or 5 of us. And so as you go, you would drop some people behind as a lookout. So on your way back, if they weren't there, the shit hit the fan and they were already on their way home. And you knew, okay, there's reason for concern. If they were still there, you would all just regroup and go home and it was fine. But if they weren't there, then you knew like, okay, we've really got to watch ourselves
Did
on the
that
way
ever
back.
happen?
Yeah. So the way we would end it is generally my older brother and I would be the two to enter the building. So by the time we got to the building, it was just my older brother and I. And the way it was like, it's a little weird. So you got to think about it. You know how like the low end of the house, the lower end of a building could be on a hill. So like you access, so we had to go up these stairs onto the roof of part of the building to go through the service door and then down some stairs to the basement. It's a
Sure.
little
Okay.
weird. But like one of us would stand at the door, right? To make sure for some reason it didn't fucking lock and you were locked in there or something, right? And the other one would go down and you're sitting there with a pocket full of quarters that you've been collecting, right? And we're just dropping quarters in and just Marlboro lights, Marlboro lights, Marlboro lights. Those are gone. Marlboros. Those are gone, right? And then now you're walking out of there with a backpack of like, you know, as many packs of cigarettes as you could
Just note,
handle.
everyone, for the reference, legally purchased cigarettes, illegally entering the room to purchase them, but they didn't steal the goddamn cigarettes or anything. Probably could have.
Actually,
Uh-oh.
at some point, we developed the dollar bill with all the tape on the end. So you could put the dollar in, and then when it registers, you yank it back out. But
That's
easy.
not. That's like the cartoon level classic caper.
It wasn't quick because sometimes it was tricky. So it was like, just bring the quarters. You know what I mean? And
That's
so,
true. You got to get in and out. Time is valuable.
so there's one time we're sneaking out, right? And it's like, okay, I got him. Let's go. And an MP was driving by, and there was a boat that was stopped on the river, 300 yards away, but like spotlight suddenly pointed right at that door, and the cop, the patrol car, same thing. And my brother and I just went like, have you ever dropped to your back? Like some people go flat on their belly. We just went flat on our back. And there's this like there's like a 1 foot ledge all around this part of the roof that we're on. And by roof, I just mean it was kind of on a hill. So we're a few steps away from being back on this obstacle course. But like, we could hear like the squawk of a police radio and they were like, yeah, okay, let's go. And everyone moved on. And we waited because we weren't stupid. So we waited like 5 minutes and I was like, let's go one at a time, right? And on the way back, I would stop, wait for my brother, signal it was okay. He would come over, and then we would do like a relay where he would go ahead, I'd meet up, then I go ahead and he'd meet up, and all of our lookouts were gone. So like while we were in the building, we knew, like they knew, like, oh shit, they're gonna get caught. But I think we got out just in time.
One mother of a story to tell when you get back.
So by the time we got back, all the way to those train tracks into our neighborhood. They were all sitting there and they're like, "Holy shit, you made it!" And I was like, "Yeah, we made it. What happened?" They're like, "Oh my god, the cops were everywhere. The boats were everywhere, and we thought you were busted." And then, of course, they just, that lasted for like 2 seconds before they were like, "So did you get any cigarettes?" And I was like, "Yeah, we got a whole backpack full of it." It's like you smoke 3 packs till dawn or whatever. But
Well, what the
that's what
thing
we used
is,
to
you had to
do.
like walk up while smoking. Like you got to walk in. Hey guys, how's it
Oh my
going?
god, we were so out of breath. It's so scary. And I mean,
From
you
the
had to
running or the
be
smoking?
all of that. We would
All of it.
the way we would sprint from station to station all the way back and like hide in the bushes and stuff, it was too intense. It was so intense. But that's what we used to go through to get cigarettes. It was crazy. So you can imagine if somebody pissed us off and we would prank them, the elaborate shit that we would come up with, which I can't talk about. But yeah, I mean, imagine you can't do that now.
It's like Better
Like
Call
post,
Saul type shenanigans.
but like post 9/11, you're not breaking into, oh no, military officer, I'm here to just buy cigarettes from this really affordable machine in the basement. They'd be like, "No, you're not. It's a terrorist act or something these days."
Yeah,
But
that's
back then
true.
it was like they probably just would have been like, "Go home, kid." I don't know.
That's true. Those
Probably,
vending machines
probably,
have great prices.
yeah. And there was this other like Chinese restaurant in our neighborhood called New Canton. And it was great. We loved this place. They had a cigarette machine too. And so we would send in one guy and go up to the counter and just be like really difficult ordering stuff that they didn't have on the menu just to distract the host, while somebody else would go to the cigarette machine, which was like behind this little curtain for some reason, but it was real loud. It was like one of those ones where you pull the knob and it's like chunk, and it
Of
would make
course.
this loud noise. So we were trying to do it as quiet as possible, just being really slow. Eventually they come out and yell at us, but
Were you not allowed to buy cigarettes?
we were
Or is
like
it just because you were
13.
young? Okay, right.
Yeah. Um, we had
I
this
forgot
method
that
of
you're
like,
smoking when you're a fucking child like a dumbass.
yeah, and there was this one, my brother and I had it figured out where even though we were obviously kids and didn't drive, if we had certain props and the right degree of confidence, you could trick any cashier into giving you cigarettes, like over
You
the
can get away
counter.
with anything with a prop
So,
and confidence. Really, all you need is a hat. Like if you have a
so I would,
hat that like that
yeah,
says something trucker company, you're in. Like
and a set of keys. So we had just like a miscellaneous keys that we put on a keychain. We just like throw that on the counter and get our money. I'd be like, "Yeah, pack of Camels, please." It was like I'm supposed to be here. That was the attitude. We'd
not only
go
are
in.
you supposed to be there, but you got somewhere to go and you gotta go while you're smoking. So
Yep,
you better get me that fucking
yep.
cigarette, Betsy, or else I'll be fucking calling the manager.
And like you always buy something else like Band-Aids or just not fun stuff. Not
Right?
like candy or soda, right? You get like Band-Aids or like vegetable oil. Put that on the counter, throw your keys down, get out your cash, be like, pack of Camels too, please. And they're like, this seems legit.
Yep. There you go. That sounds fun. Like
It was fun. And even if it didn't work, like it was just a matter of time before it worked. It'd work 1 out of 3 times. Whatever.
yeah, you just go to a different store and try again.
Yeah. It was really fun. Uh super gluing pennies to the keyholes of a car. Have you ever heard of that prank?
No.
Yeah. That's a
Like on
like a
top of the
bad one.
keyhole?
Yeah. So then you hide out nearby and you watch them like try and put their key in. They're like, "What the fuck is going? Why isn't this working?" And you're just like,
You just do this to
That
strangers?
no, you would have to earn that.
Oh. Well, I mean, if they earned it. My teacher
you
gave
gotta
me a fucking B, man.
no,
Let's go
not
get some
that.
pennies in their key cars or whatever the fuck. Car keys.
I see a chat that says
Keepers?
y'all were really smoking, huh?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I
man.
mean, I would imagine doing that for like a good drug, but cigarettes, like, really?
Oh, I didn't even get
You're gonna
into
become
that
a
part.
criminal mastermind for cigarettes?
Yeah. I mean, it helps you down the road being
True.
resourceful.
Learning to become a criminal mastermind does help you set up a streaming enterprise.
No. It helped me get to the point where I could do this.
That's
It
true.
does not help me do this. It helped me get to a point where
Well,
I could do it.
well,
I don't know.
we'll see. I mean, how else are you getting all these fucking famous people on your show? Blackmail?
Not yet. I've considered it. No. I'm not.
Well, you need
Sometimes
to blackmail me. It's pretty easy. So
I really feel like like when I get to a certain number of emails, I have to say, I know I'm being a pest. I'm sorry. Or I don't mean to pester you. I have to open the email with something like that. Like, I really don't mean to pester you. This would
my
just be such
favorite
a big
is
deal for
feel
me.
free to completely ignore this. That's mine. That I start off.
So they will though. So I can't. I used to do that and I was like, oh, they are ignoring it and there's no way to follow up. So anyway, this is what I love. This is how I get over that awkwardness of having to invite them more than once or follow up and keep checking and how about now, I get over that because obviously if they aren't like, hell yeah, I'll come on, then that means they're probably also thinking, and I'm just being realistic, they're probably also thinking, why am I doing this? Who is this guy? Why would I do this? I don't need to do this. And I love that challenge. And I had this challenge recently. I knew this was the case. And then by the end, we're off the air. It's just us. And they're like, that was fun. I'm really glad I did this. That was great. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't need to be going out to 5,000 people. I wish it was. It doesn't need to be. Like, we can sit here and have a good time and a great conversation. And then you could take this stuff back and I'll take stuff away. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this can live on, like, because we've got the ball rolling on certain ideas and thoughts and whatever. But, I love the challenge of somebody being like, this is going to, why am I doing this? And then afterward, they're like, I'm so glad I did this.
Can you name drop?
I think Spencer Ackerman was like that for sure. Absolutely.
Just
And I think
annoying the shit out of this fucking guy, like to the point where like you might even get a restraining order filed against you.
I hit him up on LinkedIn. Right?
Yikes.
And then I went on social media and said, I hit up Spencer Ackerman on LinkedIn. That's how bad I want to get him on my show. And he responded, okay, you win. I'll come on. Here's my email. And I was like, okay. And then for the first minute before we went live, he was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, okay, I'm going to win this guy over. I can tell that he's apprehensive. He's doing me a favor. So I had to prove to him that this is going to be worth his while. And by the end, it was like, we should meet up at a Comic-Con. That was great. And, so it's like, I can win them over. I just need to get the opportunity. And there's where I'm going to have to pester them. It's going to be awkward.
There's an idea brewing here. We're going to do a mock interview. I'm going to pretend to be someone important. You go through all the steps with me, document the whole thing, and then we can sell it on like masterclass. How to get any famous YouTuber on your podcast. 12 easy steps. We'll film the whole thing. Boom, $99.
Okay, part of your role will be not getting back to me for like a month though.
Yeah, but you have to do like a daily, like, you know, like the phone camera thing, like, guys, day 7, no response. You know, then it's like fast forwards. Hey guys, day 33, I haven't gotten anything. I don't know if it's happening. Right. And then the music sets in, like the fucking ambient, like motivational music. Hey guys, day 54, haven't gotten an email. Maybe they forgot. And then it fades off. And then it's like, you know, the music crescendos, it gets loud. What's up, guys? It's day 75. I got a response. It's happening, you know, and then you just go from there.
There is something, yeah, because you know what I capitalize on certain moments. Like there'll be a time where it's like trying to get this one person on, or like 2 people, and in the meantime, I get one of them, and then I'll do a follow up with the other person and say, you know, I just had so and so on. So like now I'll say, you know, if it's a cold call. Like I just cold called somebody today and I said previous guests include Crystal Ball, Sam Cedar, Senator Nina Turner, right?
Cold
Like
call?
I like cold call.
As in you actually called them?
No, like I sent them an email and we haven't interacted before. They wouldn't be like, oh Matt,
Okay.
oh the Letterhack.
Okay.
There's not gonna be any of that.
Right.
They're gonna be
I
like,
was just
who's
making
this?
sure you didn't actually call them.
Yeah, so I have to say I've done over 60 of these interviews since February. Previous guests include next week I'm doing I'd love to have you on, right? And so it's like you gotta name drop like crazy, but like sometimes there are 2 people who I know are already associated with each other, and if one of them is on, then I'll immediately follow up with the other one and say, hey, I just had so and so on, I was talking about having you on, and they said that'd be great and they loved it. Now you can cross reference with them.
That's what
If you
I did
want.
with the fucking Mike and David from the leftist mafia. I had one of them on, and then it was like a cakewalk getting the other guy on. Just like
Yeah.
too easy. Too easy, you guys. Too easy.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's after midnight on the East Coast at 12:14 a.m.
Christ,
December
it's all over.
21st. Yeah.
It's
So
the
let's
winter
wrap
solstice.
this. Let's wrap this, get some rest, and then be back here tomorrow for
Wait,
video
let's
games.
wrap our show tonight. We're gonna wrap it up because tomorrow morning, live unwrapping of the show that we wrapped up tonight, and we're gonna Christmas and we're gonna play game video. So bye bye. Roll the tape. Go.
Oh, my cue. No, it doesn't start now. It ends now. Well, maybe it ends now.